or behind in a campaign, we're talking about opinion polls. These are professional surveys of select groups of people, groups that, ideally, are representative of the electorate as a whole. Today, there are hundreds of polling organizations, some public or partnered with media, others private on behalf of parties or candidates. Their methods differ, but they're all doing the same fundamental thing: forming a sample, asking questions, and recording responses. Questions range from the simple, who will you vote for, to more nuanced, who do you trust on the economy, or even, which candidate would you like to have a beer with? The earliest example of the modern opinion poll was by a group of newspapers in the 1824 election. For decades afterward, a magazine called Literary Digest monopolized presidential polls, mailing millions of questionnaires and tabulating those that returned. But the art of measuring public opinion didn't develop into a science until 1935, when George Gallup founded the American Institute of Public Opinion, known today as Gallup Inc. Using a sample of just 50,000 respondents, he predicted Roosevelt's victory in 1936. Literary Digest, with 2 million respondents, did not. Gallup realized prediction wasn't just about size, but that sample also has to be truly representative. That's no easy task. The first problem is non-response bias, the idea that results lean toward the kind of people who respond. For example, postal, in-person, and telephone polls can return very different results. Rural voters might be less likely to pick up the phone than urbanites, while the rich were more likely to have a phone than the poor. Today, polling is increasingly digital, which can mean older voters are sometimes underrepresented. Counterintuitively, pollsters had to learn to adjust their results to make them more accurate, a common practice now known as weighting. Phrasing of questions was also discovered to significantly factor into how respondents consider them. But even with the most refined methods, it is impossible to prevent anomalies. In 2016, most polling suggested Trump would lose. Some now believe that happened because some shy voters were reluctant to admit their support for Trump. Others have a simpler explanation. Polls are just a snapshot of one moment in time. When events change public sentiment, they can quickly become outdated.